I just want to say hello to my Patreon subscribers that have stayed with me with no podcast or content. And I want to say you will be rewarded. Of course, you won't, but you know that by now. But there's lots of Patreon content to come. We got the BO Boys back. You remember them from last year. We've got our own podcast, Movie Awards Show podcast, the Show Me the Money.
Yes. So this
on
is a
the
good
Sports Gambling Podcast Network.
This is a good chance to check in on who's still alive from your Patreon.
For sure. Yeah. No, a
check.
lot of deaths.
Yeah.
I have been surprised.
These new episodes are more of a wellness check than anything.
Yeah. When I was in high school, and Weezer was like the biggest band in my world, their fan club was started by these two super fans, these sisters, Michael and Carly, Mykel and Carly. And they died in a car accident. And anyway, it just seems similar. All the people that really have decided they are a fan of me died.
Did they live to listen to Beverly Hills? Did they?
That's where they want to be.
Yeah,
rolling like a celebrity. Their best song for sure. And that's where the Patreon content ends, and it just becomes the show, right? I mean, it's still Patreon content. It's video for the hot shots.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing us do anything is worth a subscription.
Okay,
Wait,
well,
so you guys are going to be. Oh, did we start the show already?
No, we haven't started the show. We have to.
Okay, so give me a second because my mic was not plugged in.
Oh my God, you're on the red carpet.
So I have to get a new QuickTime going because when I plugged in my mic, it changed all my shit.
Oh my God.
I mean,
hey, you were the one who was at a concert. You were at a concert in fucking on a school night, and you're giving me shit.
Me and Sean Donnelly were rocking out in Williamsburg tonight.
Wow, how's Shawnee?
He's great. He's great.
What old man band did you see?
We saw the Hold Steady.
Oh,
That's
really?
awesome.
And they're holding steady at making about like $2,000 a show now.
Well, they're being held steady by their aides. Their aides hold them steady now from behind, so they stay upright.
Every
they're
summer,
steady at selling 10,000 albums a year now, or whatever it is.
Oh shit, dude!
What do you have against the Hold Steady?
What's going on?
They put on a good show.
Listen,
me and Lil Shawnee Boy and Kevin McCaffrey, we were rocking out. We were 24 again.
Did you shoot a "Don't Touch Me There" video while you were there?
Yeah, we did. And then we stopped by Coco 66 because we're just too cool for school.
Shut it.
All right, so I'm recording on QuickTime.
Great.
My Zoom should still be recording.
Yeah, your Zoom's always
natural. Original sound is on, and I'm good to go whenever.
All right. So, Nick, do you want to take the reins at starting this
Yeah,
off? And
I'll
are we Show Me the Money, or are we Entertainment Awards Show Gambling Podcast?
Well, this is the first step, and we can talk about it. But I'll intro it as just Show Me the Money.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Oh yeah.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Show Me the Money podcast, where we will be your guides through this movie awards season, specifically how to gamble through it and make millions. We can get you more money than you would get for being a movie star with these picks. So before I do anything else, if you listen to Get Rich Nick, if you're a fan, then you know these guys. If you've listened to the BO Boys, then you know these guys. And if you've done anything else with your life, you have no idea who they are or me. Thank you for coming. Please welcome to the stage Clayton Gumbert and Pat Stango. Welcome, guys.
What's
the
up,
BO
Nick
Boys
Turner?
Yourselves.
Yeah, we are
Hey,
the
what's
BO
going
Boys. People know us as the BO Boys. We analyze movie box office twice a week with how movies did in the past weekend, how they're doing this coming weekend. But Now it is time for a higher calling, which is the three of us are going to predict and tell you who are gonna win all of these upcoming movie awards shows. This is what we've been waiting to do our whole lives.
Okay,
Nick.
yeah. And if you're at home, that's Pat Stango talking.
Yeah, that's
and
me.
he
I'm
has
Pat Stango.
glasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's going to be something you're gonna need to think about when he's talking.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton Gumbert, our third host. How are you? First in my heart.
Oh, thank you. I'm doing well. And I think, should we kind of just give the people who are listening, who haven't listened to these other two shows, which if they haven't, how dare you?
We need to give them our pedigree.
What our pedigree is, what our bona fides are.
Sure.
Right?
Why don't you take the lead as the latest winner? Why don't you go first?
Yeah, so I won our annual Oscar pool this past Oscar season.
Okay, I do have to just
interject.
I want to give just a little backstory. You know, I was a boy who loved Oscar movies and or Oscar telecasts, and I loved winning parties. And I won so many parties I never got invited to anymore. And then I found a group of people who loved movies and knew about them as much as I did, and we have been in a incredibly competitive Oscar pool for many years. It's not like your Oscar pool. You can't get 12 categories and win. You got to get it damn near perfect. And last year Clayton won. Sorry.
Yes. And Nick, you had won, I think, the 2 previous years, possibly. Is that, or at least the year previous?
I had won the year previous and 2 years before that, I believe. I think there was a year in the middle, but I have won 2, record holder.
You won that year on Anthony Hopkins when no one else believed in Anthony Hopkins.
And a lot of people call me the father because of that.
I call you the father.
Yeah, the father. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my nickname.
Yeah. Your son is the only one who at this point doesn't call you the father, but that's just because he doesn't understand Oscar gambling yet. He's a baby.
Right, the concept of fathers.
Yeah.
And also gambling.
Yeah, not yet. He will.
No.
Yeah, so Clayton, you won last year's Oscar pool in our group, which again, you have to damn near have a perfect score to win.
What do you
Oscar
get
pool.
wrong in one of these where we win? Like
we
have to get 22 at least.
Yeah, I missed one, and it was one of the shorts.
How many total are there? Total categories? 25?
23, I believe.
23? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you're not getting 20, 21, good fucking luck. Get the hell out of here.
Right. There's people who win Oscar pools at their offices and they miss Best Picture. You know, they miss like 3 of the acting awards, but because the skill level is so low, they could still win. Obviously, that's on our Oscar pool. So that goes to show Clayton obviously is a star when it comes to picking winners at the Oscars. He won last year. Nick, of course, is a star.
He's the LA Rams of this year.
And Nick, of course, one of the rare losses that you had in Oscar pools, Nick, was the year when La La Land was announced as the Best Picture, and then Moonlight was announced a minute later as the actual Best Picture.
Yeah.
You won if La La Land's win had held,
right,
and then it was taken away from you.
I actually have had the feeling of winning this Oscar pool 3 times.
Yes.
One of them turned into one of the biggest tragedies of my life.
Yes.
And when that was happening, Nick, were you doing a running commentary in your mind where, on the stage you were saying, "Wait, there's been a mistake. Moonlight won." In your mind was it saying, "Oh, there's been a mistake. Nick is not going to the steakhouse tonight"?
Yes, very famously, my wife was also there, and I believe the prize was at least $500, and so we were planning on going to M. Wells Steakhouse, a place we still never went. And we were looking at the menu for the steakhouse, and it's a very expensive restaurant, and we were going to go and we were going to order everything, and it was taken away. With a very deserving award, and let's hear it for him.
Yes, of course. The caveat is always Moonlight is a great movie.
Moonlight is obviously better than La La Land. We don't need to discuss this.
We don't need to discuss that, but we do need to discuss that Warren Beatty wronged you that year, Nick Turner, cost you a steak dinner, he still owes you. If you ever see him in the streets of LA, he owes you a steak.
Well, I have a standing $100 to anyone who can give me Warren Beatty's address. $100. No questions asked.
I think what we've shown here is that's one way where you could win money on these Oscars and, of course, all the other satellite awards, the SAGs, Golden Globes, is just your friends and family or other local gamblers. You have these pools. So over the course of this series, that'll be one way we encourage you to win some money, is to just basically find some suckers, get them into a room, and take the money right out of their wallets. That's an easy way of getting
people
some stake
show
money.
up to a party,
Yes.
to an Oscar party, and they're like, how much is a ballot? $20. Here you go. They get the ballot, and then audibly they're like, I didn't see any of these movies. And you're like, what? What? Do you have a phone?
Right.
You haven't Googled who's gonna win?
Right.
Like the debates between Anthony Hopkins and Chadwick Boseman, and then you come in and you're like, I think it's gotta be Weird Al Yankovic's year. Wait, he wasn't nominated?
Right.
Idiot.
Right. Yeah.
That's 80% of people at Oscar parties.
Yeah, they don't even know. They're still saying, "Oh, Dances with Wolves." They think Dances with Wolves will win again, and it won't.
Well, the reboot.
Yeah. Well, the reboot I've heard is good. The Peacock series Dances with Wolves is supposed to be pretty good.
He never left that tribe.
No, and the stuff he's been up to since has been it's been hilarious.
Honestly, and I hate to say this, but I think that tribe really needed a white guy to shake things up.
Yes. It gave them a new perspective.
Yeah.
But that's going to be one way to make money over the course of this. Find some suckers, get them into an Oscar pool, SAG pool, Golden Globe pool, and it really just costs you putting out a cheese plate, ordering a pizza, and then everyone's throwing $20, $30 into the pool, and you just take it because you're just going to bet what we tell you to bet.
But that is 4 months away, Pat. So what do we do in the meantime?
Well, in the meantime, there are many award shows on the road to the big one. The big one is the Oscars, but that doesn't happen until March. But on the road to the Oscars, you got your Golden Globes, you got your SAG Awards, you got your Producers Guild, you got your Directors Guild, you got your Writers Guild, you got your Critics' Choice, and
you got your People's Choice, you got your Spirit Awards, you got your BAFTAs.
Your BAFTAs. We're going international this year. And the thing is, last year, I know for me it was, and I think it was for you too, Nick and Clayton, was the first year I ever gambled on the Oscars with a gambling website, with a bookie of any kind. And the thing is, they're out there now. These websites are taking bets on all these award shows, and the dirty little secret is they are those people at the office who don't know really what the odds should be, what these movies are. The bookies, they're smart when it comes to college football. They're smart when it comes to the NBA. It's going to be tough to beat them there. I know there's a lot of great shows on this Sports Gambling Podcast Network that are going to give you the tips, but the bookies know how to set the lines for the NFL. They do not know how to set the lines when it comes to the SAG Awards. And that is, I think, it's a secret that may not be out for many more years, but I think it still holds true. They don't know how to set these lines right now.
No, of course not. There's like, if you get a basketball game, you have like just millions of pages of data.
Yes.
That you can crunch. And here, every team is drops all their players every year and leaves the league.
Yes.
And a new team comes in and tries to scramble and get new players and win the tournaments.
Yes.
It's just fucking nonsense.
Yes. It's like with the entertainment award shows, it's every year the Yankees disappeared and there had to be a new team, and the Yankees will never come back and the Cowboys will never come back. It is just completely new teams that never existed the year before. And all these bookies have to say, I don't know, is this new team, are they the best? I have no idea. They never existed a year ago.
Okay, Pat. So because of this,
Mm-hmm.
the legal gambling sites in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
in the states where it is legal to gamble, I don't know,
Okay.
it's half the states now. Your DraftKings, your, I don't know,
Win bets, of course.
your
I mean,
win
Yeah, the
bets, of
sponsor
course.
for this. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
the like redheaded stepchild of this network because while Win Bets does everything on the level,
Mm-hmm.
and is a reputable agency and
Oh,
is
they're
held to
great.
certain standards and is
Handsome,
able to
too.
prove that they can pay for everything. I don't know what goes into it.
Yeah.
The
But
sites,
they're great.
yeah.
Bet your mortgage with Win Bets. That's
sure.
what I always
but
say.
if you want to gamble entertainment odds, you cannot go legit.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily there are, I don't know, maybe a dozen sites I know that you can gamble with no matter what state you're in.
Right.
So what we're talking Bovada, we're talking MyBookie, sportsbetting.ag, betus.fv, betmoney.qr code.
Right.
It gets there's no .coms in this industry is what I'm trying to say.
No. They're all .islands.
Yes, because a .com is regulated by the United States.
Yeah.
So, that's what we're dealing with. And are these sites secure? I have bet with almost all of them, and I've never had a real problem other than the fact that gambling makes you lose almost always.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the only problem I have is that gambling is entertainment and not job.
Well,
Yes.
Regular sports gambling. This is a job.
yes. But the thing is, these sites that we're going to mention over the course of this series, the ones we've used, none of them have gotten our identity stolen at the least.
No, that I've literally never had a problem with any website, any gambling website.
Yeah. I mean,
They've
my
never
bona
done anything
fides,
weird.
other than, of course, being co-host of the BO Boys, therefore embedded deep in the entertainment industry, is last year, me and Nick, we both separately bet a bunch of money on different Oscar categories. And I think MyBookie is what we both used. And I ended up at the end of that night, and not betting very much, I ended up like plus $400 or so. Use MyBookie. Eventually, I got my money. It took a couple of emails back and forth. They wanted to give me Bitcoin. They wanted to give me, MyBookie credits or whatever they have. But eventually, I got cash money, US dollars, sent back to me. So we're going to use these sites that are not Win Bets. Hopefully, someday Win Bets could let us bet on the Oscars, but not yet. But
I don't think it's up to them. I don't think they're in the boardroom meeting. They're like, I just don't think Nick, Pat, and Clayton have earned it.
I think it's still worth a letter writing campaign. So if the listeners of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network want to write Win Bets and say, hey, let us bet on the Oscars, it probably can't hurt. So
For sure. Clayton, what's your experience gambling?
Well, I, watched you guys gamble last year.
Yeah.
And you seem to be okay now. So I'm feeling like I can dip my toe into it. I mean, I've done the Oscar pool stuff. I didn't go on any of the offshore sites. But I do think now, I mean, I don't know, you can edit this out, but aren't we getting a little bit of do-re-mi to do it?
Well, for sure. No, yes.
so that
We're
it
going to
won't
have ads
be-
on this. This is a
Yes.
legitimate project, and we will be putting that in together to make our bets with. We will not be dipping into our own pockets. Hopefully, that's the whole point of doing a podcast. You get a little. I say do, you say Ray, Pat says me.
Yeah.
Me, of course. Yeah.
So nobody's college fund is being used.
No, and this is actually what I talked to, the impresario of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Sean Green, when I pitched
Great
this,
man.
and we talked
Handsome.
about money. I told him I want every dollar that we can get from this to go into the bets,
Yes.
because if I take $1 in my pocket, that's like 10 cents to what it will be in April
Yes.
or March.
Yes.
I
Spoken
don't know
like
the
a
date.
true
It's always
gambler.
that week or whatever.
Yeah.
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 So also another thing to remember, we covered this a lot last year, but we will have information on our website, whatever the website is, whether we have a website or we use just on the Patreon, or I know there's a Discord on the SGPN Discord.
Mm-hmm.
They are starting an entertainment channel.
Oh, that's great. Just for us. I love it.
Discord, yeah. And they're expanding. We're a part of that, and that's great. And so we'll have information there as well, but we're going to figure out whatever the centralized place is. And there will be referrals. And if you use one of our referrals, that's great. We'll play with it, lose our money, never get it out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use our referral, they're going to be like, hey, double your money. For every $100 you put in, we'll give you $200. And that always comes with a big rollover, like a 10 times rollover. And a 10 times rollover means they keep it. You're never going to win 10 fucking times your money and take it out. I mean, it's always possible, but it's not very likely. So if you use one of our referrals, they'll give you that flashy pitch, but don't take it. Just put your money in, use that money to bet, and then when you're done, you get to take the money out.
Yes.
But if you put that in, take the referral, you win everything on Oscar Sunday, you're still going to have to like bet it on, esports,
right?
Till 4 a.m. and lose.
What a great racket for these offshore gambling sites. Like old time Italian gangsters must salivate when they see the kind of things that these gambling sites get away with that they didn't think of doing in the 1980s.
It's so funny. I don't have any experience with legit gambling because they just put it up for vote in California, and it was like 80 something to 20. No,
against
it didn't work. Yeah.
Wow.
But there was a very big push against it. Spearhead. I don't know who even spearheaded it, but they got like all of the native tribes who have gambling interests to come out against it, and it seemed like it was like a win against or like for natives in the country.
Okay, so they got people to vote with their hearts, but not with their head. There was a lot of guilt votes against legalizing gambling.
Someone who only loses money for fun on gambling sites, playing sports or betting on sports, and only wins doing this. I can't do this on a legit site.
Right.
So if every state has legit sites, these sites will go away.
Right.
And there won't be any entertainment gambling.
Right.
And it's all we want to do.
It's all we want to do because, again, that is where I think right now you could game the system or with these award show entertainment bets because, again, the bookies do not know movies the way they know touchdowns, the way they know slam dunks, the way they know grand slam home runs. They know all of those things.
Well, they know slam doinks.
They don't know slam doinks.
No, yeah, we know the
slam doink is a proprietary term of the B.O. Boys and Nick Turner.
Oh, we haven't really even explained your podcast, I don't think, in full.
Well, the B.O. Boys, separate podcast. You can find that on a different feed. But that is every week, Clayton and I do 2 episodes where we look back at what the movies did at the box office, analyze what went right, what went wrong, and then we predict how movies are going to do at the box office in the coming weekend. Because, of course, nothing matters in art more than dollars. And so we analyze the dollars of the movie industry. That is, again, part of our bona fides of why we know movies so well, why we know who's going to win, what's going to win all of these awards. So do we want to quickly touch on, before we look ahead at this award season, some of the things that we learned last year and how those could apply to this year's awards race? Last year's Oscars, of course, give a refresher because no one remembers anything about that Oscars other than Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. But the award winners were Coda, which was an Apple movie about a deaf family that won Best Picture. Best Actor was won by Will Smith. no one will ever remember that Will Smith won the
I
Oscar
didn't
for
even remember he won. I
Mhm.
forgot he had come back up. He had
he
to come back
won
up.
Best Actor in the same year that he ended his movie career. 15 minutes apart, he ended his movie career, and then he won the Academy Award for Best Actor for
And this
King
year
Richard.
has a big award hopeful movie.
Oh, he has Emancipation, and I am really just as a Oscar viewer praying that he's not going to, but I'm praying he gets the nom for Best Actor. And that
he should win. If the Oscars want people to watch, Will Smith wins.
Yes, he wins. And he accepts over Zoom. It's not going to happen.
And he gets slapped by every entertainment industry rock.
Yes.
Even Jordan Rock is getting in there.
Oh, that would be
Master
great.
of None's Jordan Rock.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a question for the Academy, because if they're a legitimate awards body, you can't nominate Will Smith. But if you want your show to be entertaining and you want viewers, like you were saying, Nick, you absolutely do. But here's the thing, is that you got to have the industry vote on it. They're not going to just vote for something for the lulz, right?
Right. They're not a bunch of jokers.
Yeah. Can I put this out there, though?
Mm-hmm.
The United States, arguably, as respected as the Academy, when it does its nominations and announces its winners, its nominations include people like Donald Trump. He won before. Like Sarah Palin.
Yep. Big winner.
Like Bob Dole, who had a comic like pen arm situation. Like
he's a war hero. You mean that he was a war hero?
No, for sure. I mean, look, we get that Dan, what's his face, lost his eye in a war, but when that guy's on the other team, all bets are up.
So you're saying,
and of course, no one's on my team.
Politics.
Libertarian.
Okay.
Yeah, you've yet to have a winner.
JK.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the Oscar telecast this year should nominate Will Smith again. I wouldn't bet on it, but if I was producing the Oscars, I would definitely nominate him. But he did win last year. He was pretty much a slam dunk going into that. He was someone you couldn't win money on because he was such a favorite all the way through the season. The trick that we're going to show everyone is the money is in getting in early on the underdogs that actually should not be underdogs if the bookies and the odds makers really knew what was going on. So Will Smith last year was someone who you couldn't win big money on. Jessica Chastain won Best Actress for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Someone else who would have been tough to win big money on because she was pretty much a favorite throughout that whole award season. But, guys, do you remember who we did win some pretty good money on last year at the Oscars?
Oh, for sure. I almost named my baby Troy Kotzer.
Oh, that was the guy, and he's the perfect example of where you could win money on award show gambling. So he was the co-star of Coda, and early on in the season, he was not the favorite supporting actor. It was the guy from Power of the Dog, Jody Lynn McPhee. What was that guy's name? Power of the Dog. We don't remember because he didn't win.
Cody Smith McPhee.
Cody Smith McPhee. He was the favorite, and then Troy Kotzer won one of the early prelim awards. Did he win? Was it the Golden Globe was the first thing that he won? I feel like he might have won something else before that, but it might have been the Globe. And once that happened, we all knew this guy was winning everything and this guy was winning the Oscar. And we got in when you could still get money on him as an underdog.
We were getting like over plus 1,000. Okay, so just you're going to be hearing plus and minus numbers a lot. And plus means it's a long shot, and minus means it's a favorite, basically. Right now, on a Bovada line, Brendan Fraser is the favorite to win Best Actor.
Yes.
A man who could not get a Spirit Award nomination. They just came out. Spirit
Yep.
Award
Yeah.
nominations are out. We'll talk about that a little later. But so anyway, he's minus 150, which means if you bet $100, you'd get back $75.
Right. You have to bet 150 to get 100. Right. Is that
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what I said was wrong, and we'll edit that out from from when we re-air these, but not from the original.
Yeah, in syndication.
Yeah, we don't edit.
No. But
Okay.
yeah, we'll edit it for when it airs late night on local television.
Right. In the 80s, in the 2080s.
Yeah, after WKRP in Cincinnati.
Right. It's going to be an episode of Siskel and Roper.
Mm-hmm.
A show that never happened. Anyway, and then us. Anyway, so and then so if it's plus 1,000, it means if you bet $100, you would get $1,000. So anyway, we got in at those very high numbers, but we didn't have the bankroll last year, and we didn't have, I think, the confidence. And I first got into this for Parasite. I remember on Bovada that year, they had a bunch of lines, and I bet a bunch on Parasite to do as much as it could, and it did. And that was my first, but that was one website, and it had 4 bets you could make. And that was it. And things have changed. Now there's many websites, but there is absolutely no schedule, and it is nearly impossible to keep track of it all, which is a thing that we are going to be doing as part of this podcast. We will have a running tally of all the award show schedule and what websites you can bet those awards on.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're going to have a commercials, but if we are, we're going to go to commercial and we'll be right back. And we're back. Pat, take it.
Yeah, well, a big part of, I think, what we're going to do on this show is just tell you where and when things are, because it's easy to know when to bet on the NFL. The games are every Sunday, and I guess now Mondays and Thursdays, and every website lets you bet on the NFL. So you don't really need guidance on where and when to bet. With entertainment award show gambling, just knowing when these things are and where to go is 80% of it.
It's really, and betting the week of the Oscars is meaningless.
Yes,
there's no way to make money then.
Yeah,
what we're doing now is we're betting these crazy odds, plus 1,000, plus 2,000, and you can bet on 8 different movies if they're all over plus 1,000, and still, if any of them hit, you get rich.
Right.
Rich, yeah.
Not rich, but richer than you are. Also, no one's listening to this and is rich. So you win $1,000, you're better off than you've ever been in your life. I would.
Coda
assume.
was a TV show when we started saying it was going to be the Oscar winner.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
we were early on it. We were early on Coda. We were early on Troy Kotzer.
Yep.
We saw the speeches he was making. And we knew this is a guy who people are going to want to see on that stage. And that makes the difference. That's what makes these things so difficult if you're not watching and you're not intently seeing what the reaction is to these people and when they speak, right? Because you could have a guy or a gal or a person who is up on stage, just kind of going through the motions, and people are going to start thinking, I don't want to hear this person talk again. And that has happened before, right? So when we're talking about someone like Brendan Fraser, and listen, I might reveal something here in talking about this. I have a feeling that this is going to be a long road for him. And I don't know how many times people are going to want to see him say the same things and do the same things and give the same speeches, right? So that is one of those things. If you're the front runner now, people can get exhausted with you.
Yep.
They're going to want somebody new, right? They're going to
Yep.
be like, you're crying. We get it. You're sad, whatever. You put on a fat suit. We get it, right? I mean, there might be an element of that.
Right. Yeah, you look at the year that Brad Pitt won his supporting actor Oscar in 2019, the Oscars of 2020, and a big part of why he won, obviously he's a giant star, beloved, been around a long time. He was due, but he did a great job of every time he won a precursor award, he gave a great speech that was different than the last one. He hired a bunch of Daily Show writers, which I think they got their money's worth, where every time he gave a speech, new jokes, new self-deprecating quips. And that is the big reason why he did win the Oscar, because people wanted to hear the next speech. So part of what we're going to do here, analyze the speeches and discover whether or not that speech is going to lead to a win on the next award show.
And there's nobody better at that than Clayton. He's our guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know the actors that are good at glad handing at the parties. And one of the reasons it was difficult to choose who was going to win in these COVID era Oscar, nominations and award shows is because they weren't allowed to be face-to-face at parties.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And famously, someone like Eddie Redmayne, who upset Michael Keaton as Best Actor, was because he was personable at the parties, right? Rami Malek, same thing.
That seems crazy.
If you can believe that he was personable, but people wanted to glad hand with Rami Malek. One of the reasons why he won, right? These are the things that you have to keep track of and read about and think about and know about. And that is where we come in.
Right. And that is where, perhaps this year, Austin Butler as Elvis, he could walk a path that Eddie Redmayne and Rami Malek have paved for him, which is glad hand. It's a possibility, a little tease for something that we might be talking about on future episodes.
And you know where it starts? If he has a great SNL.
Mm-hmm.
If he is a great SNL host, that is such a great momentum builder. Now, I don't want to blow up your spot, Nick, but I do want history to be in the history books. We've been texting, and I mentioned Austin Butler, and you poo-pooed it. Mm-hmm. You poo-pooed it. So I'm going to say right now, when Austin Butler wins, you're going to be eating some crow instead of steak. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, this is actually an important distinction between me and the BO boys, and actually what sets us apart and why ultimately I was not a part of your podcast. Because you guys take quality out of the equation.
Totally out.
In every scenario. And I, the father, Nick Turner, I take into account a performance.
Which you shouldn't.
And that is the difference. And I've won 3 times or 2, depending on how many times, or depending on how you quantify it. It's 2.
They're still counting the Moonlight votes.
Pat, you haven't won. Clayton won once. And I think the difference maker is that little je ne sais quoi that I personally have an ability to detect.
Yeah. You listen, you have a nose for quality.
Yeah.
And Clayton and I, we've plugged our noses up long ago.
So Elvis is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And I appreciate that. I don't think all of it matters, but I do think the fact that it was not an enjoyable experience matters. And it seems like they got that beautiful boy in there and they're just torturing him in this awful movie. And what Tom Hanks is doing is, I don't know,
getting him a supporting
Russian
actor
collusion, because it's the single worst performance I may have ever seen in a movie that I wanted to see by a guy I like.
So
he made up this insane accent, like he's a Martian.
Wait, are you talking about Will Smith and King Richard, or are you talking about Tom Hanks?
I'm talking about both of them.
Okay, yes.
So you didn't like in Elvis when Tom Hanks was running around yelling, "Put on the Santa Claus sweater, put on the Santa Claus sweater," yelling at Elvis to put on his Santa Claus sweater for the Christmas concert?
No, there were 0 moments in that movie I enjoyed.
Okay. Well, The thing is, Austin Butler seems like someone who's going to be great at glad handing at the parties. He is going to want this in a way that Rami Malek wanted it, in a way that Eddie Redmayne wanted it. And I think he's going to be the guy out there kissing babies and shaking hands and patting fannies. And he's going to be singing Elvis songs at these parties. With consent, of course.
No.
Patting
It only
fannies
takes
with
one
consent.
for him to be done. So there's a segment idea that I have.
Okay. I love it.
And
Why
I'd
not
like
do
to,
it live on air?
I'd like to highlight one movie every week
Okay.
Okay.
where we do a deep
Great.
dive on all of the relevant categories and how they connect to that movie, whatever.
Love it.
And I'd like it to be a movie, like whatever movie is most easily accessible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Elvis is a movie that is on HBO Max, if I'm not.
Oh, yeah. It's very easily
So
accessible.
why don't we start with that one, and then next week we can start our first deep dive into whatever the movie is with Elvis.
Okay, great. So
And we
say
talk
you're saying
about the terrible Baz Luhrmann,
mm-hmm.
the awful Tom Hanks,
Okay.
and the cutie with no one to love him, Austin Butler.
Love it. This will give Clayton and I a week to build our case for perhaps Best Picture and Best Actor winner Elvis.
What's
So-
worse is I might have to rewatch it.
Oh, we definitely all have to rewatch it at least once in the
Yeah.
next
It'll be a
week.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, so our
On
first
half speed.
our first movie that we break down, Elvis, and I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this again. So what else do you think we've learned last year that will apply? Obviously, get in early on these underdogs that aren't really underdogs. It's just the bookies don't know that they shouldn't be the underdogs. Watch the speeches. I think that's going to be a big theme of our series is keeping track of speeches, keeping track of public appearances by the nominees.
You're also going to want to
scandals.
watch what else they get nominated for.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to go to talk about the Spirit Award nominations a little bit.
Let's do it. Yeah.
do it.
Because there are, we could talk about the odds for the Oscar races, but they're nuts because there's 25 movies in each, conversation, and we don't even know what's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Spirit Award nominations are out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if, let's say, Best Picture, if we just talk about Best Picture, if you think to yourself, every single movie that got nominated for a Spirit Award has a better chance of winning Best Picture than the movies that didn't get nominated for a Spirit Award.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is, especially now where the odds are, plus 1,000, plus 1,400.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're crazy. And I wanted to go through a little just to let people know what kind of a predictor the Spirit Awards are for the Oscars.
Okay.
And so so I'm looking up the winners for the Spirit Awards, and there is a lot of overlap with the winners for the Oscars.
And that's become more pronounced the last 10 years, I would say.
Oh, for sure.
As
It used to be like a
indie
different
movies
set of movies.
and Oscar movies by studios become really blended. You look at the 80s and 90s, these Indie Spirit nominees and winners were legitimately independent micro budget movies. Now the Indie Spirits are kind of just the Oscars with worse food at the dinner, basically.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is, can we kick this off? Let's just look at the Best Feature nominees for the Indie Spirits. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to just talk about which how often they share the winner just before we
Okay.
get into
Yep. Go
Sure.
for it.
Sure.
Last year it kind of was like there wasn't a lot of connection. Maybe The Lost Daughter was the only nominee. It won Spirit Award, but I
Mhm.
think it's the only movie in that category that was even nominated for Best Picture. The year before, Nomadland also won Best Picture.
Yep.
The year before that, The Farewell won.
Was not nominated for Best Picture that year.
Was not
no,
nominated.
No Oscar nominations. Everyone thought it might get a screenplay, and it didn't even get that.
The year before that, If Beale Street Could Talk, also, I don't think that was nominated. If it was nominated, it was never a contender.
It didn't win Best Picture. It got the win for supporting actress at the Oscars, but
the year before that, Get Out. The year before that, Moonlight, also Best Picture winner.
Yep.
The year before that, Spotlight, also Best Picture winner.
Yep.
The year before that, Birdman, also Best Picture winner.
Wow.
So there are.
Year before that, 12 Years a Slave, also Best Picture winner.
Yeah. The Artist, also Best Picture winner. So I think if you want to start betting now, which we do, and you look on Bovada, what else? Bet US was another website that had Oscar lines and People's Choice Awards. But I think just if you want to put money in today, which we cannot stress enough, the earlier the better. Put money in today, look at that list, look at the odds on one of these websites for that movie that is nominated for Spirit Award, and put some money in.
Yeah, and if you look at the nominees this year for Best Picture at the Indie Spirit Awards, Bones and All, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Our Father the Devil, Tar, Women Talking. I would say out of those 5, there are 3 very solid, will be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars movies. I think Everything Everywhere, Tar, and Women Talking, those are slam doinks to be nominated for Best Picture. And I think if you're starting to get early money in there, Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to end up one of 2 or 3 movies that come Oscar night have any chance to win Best Picture.
Absolutely. It ticks so many boxes.
Yeah.
For what this Academy is looking for in a Best Picture.
Yep. And it was, listen, we're the BO boys, Clayton and I, and Everything Everywhere All at Once is one of the big box office stories of the year. You know, you would look at it and say, oh, this movie made $70-something million domestic. The Spider-Man No Way Home, the 3 different Spider-Men made what, $500-600 million domestic. But Everything Everywhere All at Once is $70 million was such a surprise, was such a great run. That box office is going to help it be a potential big Oscar player because it was such a, for its level phenomenon with audiences.
And so many people have seen it, and so many people will be able to see it. It is available now on, PVOD, obviously, but it's now on Showtime. It's available to watch at home on Showtime. So a lot of people are going to be seeing that movie again or seeing it for the first time at a very important juncture. Yep.
You could watch all of Californication, all 5 seasons, and then you could watch Everything Everywhere All at Once on Showtime. That's huge.
And then we look at Best Director. I mean, we've got Todd Field for Tar. That's almost guaranteed slam doink for a nom for Best Director at the Oscars, right? You've got the 2 directors for Everything Everywhere All at Once. They're definitely getting nominated. Sarah Polley, Women Talking. Again, that's Women Talking. That's probably going to get a nom. So, I mean, these are crossovers, obviously, but there's 3 of the possible Best Director nominees right there.
Now, guys, Nick, you very smartly mentioned that the things that don't get nominated, that's a big tell too. And something that did not get any Spirit Award nominations was The Whale. Darren Aronofsky's The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser, which, not every movie is eligible for the Indie Spirit Awards. You have to be under a certain budget and you have to have that indie cred. But The Whale was eligible and they just did not nominate it for anything. So guys, Brendan Fraser, on all the gambling sites now, he is the favorite for Best Actor. Do you think the Indie Spirit Awards snub matters? Is this an early tell or is this just a blip?
I mean, obviously anything is possible. and things happen every year
Mhm.
like this, where like Lady Gaga wins the Golden Globe, and then it's like she's it's not that's not a real award.
Right. Right.
But I think that it's definitely bad news for the movie, for Brendan Fraser, and
Mhm.
for the front runner on gambling websites. And if you're
Mhm.
putting minus 150 money, if you think to yourself, I have $100 and I want to have $150 in 4 months, you're an idiot.
Right.
You want to have
Right.
$1,000.
Right. Right.
So you put it
Yeah.
on tar, maybe.
Right.
I think that the buzz for this movie is toxic. Like, people do not, from what I'm hearing, people do not like this movie. And all these sites are having it as a, best picture nomination. I just really think this movie is going to be divisive in a way that isn't like Green Book was divisive. Where Green Book is a middle of the road sort of movie that had its problems, right? But you could see why people would like it. Like, The Whale definitely looks like something that is going to be an acquired taste in a way that I think the people who are slurping on Brendan Fraser, which nothing against Brendan Fraser, right? They want this comeback story to happen so bad that it's a very internet driven phenomena, and we know that tweets aren't ticks.
Right.
The
Right.
real world does not happen online, especially with Academy voters. So, I mean, I think there's a chance he doesn't even get a nom for Best Actor. I mean, that's a distinct possibility by the end of this that he is not even nominated for an Oscar.
I wish that these gambling sites uh, would allow us to make bets on the nominees, because I think that would be it would be fun, but it would really give experts like us a real another opportunity to really clean up, because the odds on Brendan Fraser not getting a nomination would be staggering. And I think that's a place where someone like Clayton could really make some money if he put $50 down on Fraser not even getting a nomination.
And the thing is, too, Aronofsky is not really a Academy darling.
Well,
I
he
mean,
did.
he got a nomination for Black Swan, right?
But he did direct Natalie Portman to an Oscar. He's had an actor who won a Best Actor, Best Actress.
Well,
So that's
Michael
pretty
Showalter
big.
just did that last year too. And
Hey.
will we see Michael Showalter get another Oscar nom? It's possible, but it's not a guarantee. So
But
that's not always a guarantee.
No, it's not a guarantee, but it is a big deal that he's definitely a director of people who get nominated. But when it comes to Brendan Fraser, I do agree this snub for the Indie Spirits could be very telling. That this could be something that 3 months from now people are pointing back and they're saying, "Oh, that's why he's not getting any of these precursor wins, because he didn't get the Indie Spirits nomination."
And this is where daring stuff should be nominated. And this movie might not be daring; it might just be bad.
Right. We'll see.
And again, quality doesn't matter, but it matters in the sense of if it's. I'm not saying it's going to be unwatchable, but if it is truly a terrible movie.
Right. Right.
Nick, your audio, we can't hear you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you
I
go.
can
He
hear
had
you.
the, he had the cough button going.
Also, that movie takes place in one room, which is a killer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. It's not up. We're not trying to get Brendan Fraser a Tony Award nomination. We're trying to get him nominations for movie awards, for motion pictures. So listen, I think we do have to do an episode on The Whale over the course of the series once we see it.
I mean, there's certain movies that we can't avoid.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the front runner for Best Actor. We got to do an episode.
We got to do an episode. And listen, I do think he'll get the nomination, but I definitely think he is a soft favorite in that category to win.
Can I tell you the name of the actor that I already want to win, and I'm worried it's going to color myself going forward? My predictions. Bill Nighy.
Okay. Have you seen his movie?
No, didn't even know he was in a movie this year.
Okay.
I watched the trailer. It looks very
Mhm.
serious, and he's great. But he's just someone that as a fan of the working title, and I've watched Love Actually maybe 10 times.
Right.
And one of the things most often said in our house is "my dad," which is from the About Time, starring Domhnall Gleeson and his dad Bill Nighy. And there's one part in it where he just says it really weird, "my dad." And between Lyra and I, we've said that over 1,000,000 times. I just love Bill Nighy. And
you're hoping
he's my
this
dad.
is the old guy, Christopher Plummer sort of.
Yeah, because
situation.
he's an actor. He's a British actor. He started, he was a great stage actor. Went to the movies, a great, lauded actor, one of the best. Never been nominated for an Oscar. I think it's a great story. It's not a story of someone who's been nominated 18 times, which I think is fucking boring, because that person won 18 times because they got to do the whole thing. This guy's never done anything. Bill Nighy.
Right.
Anyway, that's it.
And listen, we're gonna give a lot of tips and knowledge of how the awards often go in the past. And one thing we've learned is being British helps, because Americans will always think British people, if you have that accent, you're better and you're smarter than us. It's just ingrained in us to think that accent equals quality, equals intelligence. And so Bill Nighy, he's British. And I think, listen, I don't think obviously he's a favorite here, but that's something that could help him in this, is that he is British. He's got the British accent, therefore makes him more respectable to the American Oscar voter.
Especially if you're black, that really helps.
Yeah, that's a great combo.
Yeah.
That's a nice spot to be in. Yeah, are there any, looking long range, Clayton, is there anyone that you're rooting for in these awards? Is there someone, whether it's nomination, win, is there a personal favorite that you have? An actor, an actress?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I'm not letting that cloud.
Well, not letting it
my
cloud. We're just
feeling.
saying as a person. Could you think as a person for a minute?
Tom Cruise, best
Okay.
actor.
Yes. That's what I assumed you would have said from the start. Yeah. Yeah.
For what?
How dare
Not the
you.
Elvis movie.
For the biggest phenomenal hit that brought back theatrical films, Top Gun Maverick.
Tom
crowd
Tom
pleaser, like,
Cruise. Okay,
no,
sorry.
Who did you think I was talking
I
about?
thought you were talking about Tom Hanks. For Elvis, I was like, Tom
No.
Cruise. Yes, that is okay. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I had not seen any of these movies, I don't even know what these movies are. That's me. I don't know what any of the movies are besides Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I think that's like a martial arts movie that time travels.
Yep.
And that's
Nailed
all
it.
I know about all those 5 movies. I don't know fucking anything. And at the end of this, I will have seen every single nomination for best song. That's just the way this shit's gonna go. And so we're in this together. And as we'll say a lot, watching all the movies is not how you win. But it is something that gives you perspective, and I think is ultimately helpful. The more knowledge, the better. That's just a fact.
But never watch the shorts.
Don't watch
Never
the shorts.
watch the shorts.
It doesn't
Do not
help
watch
to
the
watch
shorts.
the shorts.
Never watch them.
Yeah.
Never
Do not watch
watch
the
them.
shorts.
So, okay, we've never figured out a real good way to predict shorts, because there isn't. Because it's like when you get to judges on your ballot, and there's like 48 judges you're supposed to, and you don't know, they don't even have parties attached to them. You're just picking people based on, how many umlauts are in their last name.
I mean, there are some hacks when it comes to the shorts. Obviously,
Kobe Bryant's involved.
yeah. If there is a big celebrity who could win the Oscar for a short. That helps. The year the Obamas had a short, they won the short because, of course, let's get the Obamas on stage. And
Holocaust.
yeah, that's the other big one. If
Holocaust.
there is a Holocaust short, that is your favorite.
That
to win.
humbled me. You guys,
Yeah.
you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I got that wrong that year.
Yeah. You got to go with the Holocaust shorts. Maybe Holocaust movies aren't as hip as they used to be and aren't going to win you the big prizes, the best picture, the best actors anymore. But there's
Can't
still
bring a date to Holocaust movies anymore.
right. But there's still a juggernaut in the short categories. So
Now, I don't think the Obamas won a short. Didn't they win documentary?
or
They won best documentary for
Yes.
the Auto
Right.
American
Factory one.
Factory. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, is there anything else that we want to talk about in this first episode here? I think we've set the stage for what's to come, which is we're going to analyze these categories, start giving people info on when they should start laying their bets. Look ahead to, the thing is, it's not just betting on the Oscars because you can't do months of a weekly show just about one event. We're going to be laying bets on all these precursor awards. Obviously, we could. Listen, we could do this a daily 3-hour day
I think
show.
that we should give out, and obviously this is new. We're just diving into this fully today, but we should give out some suggestions. Just looking at Bovada. Bovada, possibly the most reputable of the websites we're going to be talking about. Cleanest interface, I'll say. Best actor, Brendan Fraser, minus 180. Bonkers.
Okay.
So everybody else, and this is, I don't know. We'll go with the top 5 people here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Austin Butler plus 450, Colin Farrell plus 550, I guess for Banshees of Inisherin. Hugh Jackman plus 1200, Bill Nighy, Brad Pitt, Harry Styles plus 2000, Adam Driver, Christian Bale, Jalen Hall, Viggo Mortensen plus 2500.
Yeah.
We're getting
Wait,
that.
Viggo Mortensen is up for Green Book again. They
Yes,
just like
Green
that
Book
performance
2,
so much. Yeah.
It was just a pitch that they liked in the room. They put it up for Oscar and it got nominated.
So here's the thing. Colin Farrell was for a little bit the favorite. And he is still a guy that it's possible that he could win this because he is a guy that's due in a lot of people's eyes, but there's something there for me that's not connecting, and I just don't believe he will win at the moment. Now, those things can change. He's a guy, like we were saying, he could give a great speech, or he could give a very embarrassing speech, or he could be really good in the rooms with people, or he could be, wow, this is a little bit overbearing. We don't know. We have to see how he reports himself during these parties. So he is definitely in the running there. I mean, Austin Butler, I think that's a good bet. I would put money on that right now.
I would too. I would start putting down like a 20 on him. I would get a little Austin Butler
say
money.
we each have $50.
Right.
If you had $50, how much of what would you put on what? And obviously, so Bill Nighy is plus 2,000. Why not throw $10 on?
Right.
That could turn into $200 in a few months, and it just gives me something to root for. My God, it's a nice way to start.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to imagine yourself. You're going to be watching the award show, so why not have $10 on your favorite long shot? Because if they win, then you'll be incredibly happy.
You're getting a steak at M. Wells.
Exactly. So if we're putting $50 just in this best actor category, I think I would lay maybe 20 apiece on Colin Farrell and Austin Butler,
And I would throw 500.
And I would
Christian Bale, yeah.
And I would throw like $10 on Tom Cruise right now.
Tom Cruise, and where is he? He's not even on this. He's not. You can't even. You can't
Oh,
even
okay.
get him on Bovada, but it's possible you get him on Bet US. Those are
On
the
Bet
two that we saw.
on Bet you that's what I was looking at. Sorry, yeah. On
Oh,
Bet
okay.
US, Tom Cruise is plus 1,500.
Okay.
But
Any best picture early thoughts? We got these are the front runners in order. The Fablemans plus 120, Babylon plus 400, Everything Everywhere All at Once plus 600, Tar plus 1,000, Banshees of Inisherin also 1,000, Women Talking 1,000.
Here's something that I'm going to say.
mm-hmm.
And again, this is all on intuition, speculation, and buzz. Babylon is being touted as it's going to be this kind of juggernaut, Oscar juggernaut.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, First Man was supposed to be a big movie for him too. I feel like that movie is going to underperform at the box office and really underperform at the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be totally a mess, and I think that movie, everybody's talking about Babylon, 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 but not a lot of people have seen it. That I don't think is going to be a heavy favorite at all. I really think it's going to fall off the Oscar map in a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
to months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a movie I'm very low on.
What
Mm-hmm.
what
So I
about
wouldn't
Elvis?
put any money near Babylon.
What about Elvis at plus 3,000?
For Best Picture, I mean, why not? I mean, I guess I'd put $10 on that. I don't see Elvis winning Best Picture. I do see Austin Butler winning Best Actor, but my money would be on Everything Everywhere All at Once. I would put $50 on that right now.
All of it.
I would put $50 on that right now.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, I agree. I think that is the thing to get some early money on, because I think the closer we get to the Oscars, those odds are going to change drastically. I could see Everything Everywhere All at Once being, minus something within a couple of months, or if not a couple of weeks. But I would get in on that. And the other I'd put a couple of bucks on for Best Picture is Women Talking. We're 2 years in a row where a female director has won Best Director. You had the Nomadland director last year, then you had Jane Campion, Power of the Dog. So Women Talking is Sarah Polley's new movie. She is just a veteran, beloved veteran of Hollywood. This movie, I think, is going to break through as the sort of indie movie that does well. And I would put some money on that for Best Picture. Maybe that's my, throw $5 or $10 on it now.
Wow. And I want to jump in on something really quick because it's reminding me of, again, let's hit this hard that these speeches are important. Because remember, when Jane Campion put her foot in her mouth last year, when she made that off-color joke, or she was trying to make a joke and it did not land, and that led to Power of the Dog losing Oscar votes and opening the door for Coda, even more so than before. So, those things make a difference, right?
Yeah. Being unlikable is not helpful.
Exactly. And she almost lost. I mean, at that ceremony, we all thought this. After that speech, we were like, she's going to win director. There's no way they're just going to pull that and give it to a dude. They're not going to do that. But they're definitely not going to give that movie Best Picture. And they didn't. And that's the power of a bad speech.
That's the power of the dog.
Mm-hmm. A dog of a
dog
speech.
Yeah. All right. Okay. It's so funny. We got a text from Pat that he's gone. But
Yeah.
that's what interrupted us.
Mm-hmm.
The text from him. Anyway, Cody Smith McPhee, he has been, I assume, kicked out of Hollywood. He's a creep. Did you watch the movie The Good Nurse?
No.
Jessica
No.
Chastain, Eddie Redmayne.
Oh, wow. So you're
they're
just
nurses.
saying two people that I don't like, and then he was in it too, Cody Smith
Well,
McPhee?
No, Eddie Redmayne plays such a creep that the whole time I'm thinking, how is Cody Smith McPhee not in this movie?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If he was in that role, and I don't want to even give anything away because I did, you could just watch the movie. You don't need to know.
Okay.
But
Does this
think.
good nurse turn out to be bad nurse?
Oh, buddy.
Oh, did I ruin it?
Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, you ruined it.
Sorry.
No, it's so funny. There's like also a documentary about the real story also at the same time out.
Did that
and
take place in Pittsburgh or no?
yeah, something like that. Looks like it rains.
Okay. Well, it always rains in Pittsburgh. That's the
That's the
what we
show.
say.
That's the show.
This is some great
okay,
Patreon content.
So anyway, that's our show. Pat, he's gone. I don't know what happened. He went to a concert with some buds, and now he's passed out on the floor.
Yeah, he might be at an Art Brut concert.
Okay, that is our first episode. We thank you so much for joining us and listening to us, and I can't wait to get rich.
Yeah, me too. Let's all get rich together.
Okay, Clayton. For Nick, for Clayton, and for Pat, we can all say all at the same time that the show is over by saying, watch Elvis. Go watch Elvis on HBO Max. If you don't have a password, text Pat, and he'll give you his.
Oh, I got a bunch.
Yeah, anyway, watch Elvis. That's your homework, and we'll talk about it next week.
Well, and listen to B.O. Boys.
And listen to B.O. Boys every week.
And,
Twice a week.
Twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, twice a week.
Yeah.
And show me the money.
Show me the money.
The Show Me the Money show. A phrase Cuba Gooding Jr. did not utter on Oscar night.
He did not. He got played off.
That's a Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
We all think he said it.
Oh, yeah. I was for sure he said it until I saw evidence that he didn't.
Yeah, it's
He
shocking.
just loves everyone.
But he did
He
say
loves
he was
everybody,
king of the
yeah.
world, which that was surprising. He did say that.
Okay, that's our show. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.